We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With AllTrails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with AllTrails.
Nothing is more important than getting a good night's sleep, and when you don't get the rest you need, your whole day is thrown off. That's why it's so important to choose the right mattress. Sleeping on a Purple mattress is truly a unique experience because Purple mattresses are made with a Gel Flex Grid. The Gel Flex Grid is an innovative material that moves with your body to relieve pressure in areas like knees and hips and support in others like your back. It feels soft where you want it and supports where you need it. Purple mattresses instantly adapt when you move. You don't sink in and get stuck like with memory foam. And thanks to over 1,400 air chambers in the Gel Flex Grid, you will sleep cooler on a Purple mattress. Purple has a wide variety of mattresses, from the original Purple mattress to the Restore Hybrid collection that combines Gel Flex Grid with coils, and the Rejuvenate Luxe collection, the height of luxury, with over 112,000 five-star reviews to prove it. Visit purple.com to find the perfect Purple for you and enter code podcast10 to get 10% off.
It's better over here.
Now at T-Mobile, get 4 5G phones on us and 4 lines for $25 a line per month when you switch with eligible trade-ins. All on America's largest 5G network.
Minimum of 4 lines for $25 per line per month with autopay discount using debit or bank account. $5 more per line without autopay, plus taxes and fees and $10 device connection charge. Phones via 24 monthly bill credits for well-qualified customers. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue bill credits or credit stop and balance on a required finance agreement due. Bill credits end if you pay off devices early. See T-Mobile.com.
Station.
Oh, a microphony. And a phony at the mic.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
You think I'm some dummy off the street?
Yeah,
My era is everything. I cover all eras. My nickname, Mr. Era.
Jeff Lutz.
I've been around for 34 years. Longer than most people.
34 years to me is, that happened yesterday, not in your lifetime.
There's no alternate history where that could have been achieved.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
What are we talking about? My mind is elsewhere.
Welcome again, everybody. It's a Thursday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz co-hosting. Max Power, as always, producing, engineering, 869-1240, the IHOP hotline. Don't forget to get to IHOP, where they're having all-you-can-eat pancakes through the 15th of this month. So still another 10 days left in that promotion.
You're going to run out of pancakes.
What's up? You didn't seal the deal last night against
who
Kansas
cares?
City.
2-3. All you need to do is win series at this point. If you keep winning series, you'll stay on top. You'll get to the playoffs. You'll probably get that.
Gave the Royals a little hope. Tommy Pham with the big hit in that one.
It's always a home run off Ben Lively, and usually he's able to maybe make it a solo shot or a 2-run shot, but this time it was a 3-run shot.
You guys you've bad-mouthed on the show.
Who?
Tommy Pham, Seth Lugo team up to win the game for the
Lugo
Royals.
didn't do anything. We put a bad lineup out there, and that's what you get.
Well, what lineup do you have that's not bad?
One that includes John Kinsey Noel. One that includes Josh Naylor.
Oh, man. Anyway, you got 2 of 3, as you said. But now Royals feel a little better about themselves.
Maybe.
Day off today. They go to Yankee Stadium over the weekend to face the Yankees. I'm familiar with that. The Cardinals did it last weekend.
Cardinals playing well against some good teams.
Yeah, I don't get it, but this is baseball, and Paul Goldschmidt has found something. Now, the question becomes, are the Cardinals going to find money to pay him?
I don't know.
He's a pending free agent.
He's turning 37.
Do you trust the guy?
I wouldn't if he's...
Do you do a 1-year deal for $15 million and say that's
for what, though? He's not a sentimental guy. It's not like he spent his whole career there. You have other options at first base. He hasn't led you to anything. So I just don't understand what the point of that
The guy
would be.
can hit.
I understand he can hit. But
The guy's hitting.
Let's turn the page.
And the guy's hitting. You know, you like a guy that can hit, and this guy's hitting.
It only took him 5 months. You want to go through that again?
I don't want to go through that again, but what if this is
You want to go through it with Arenado?
Arenado's been okay.
But he's on
you can live with Arenado.
But he's on the decline. He's not going to get any better.
He's on the decline, but he's okay. And you have to live with Nolan Arenado. He's signed for 3 more years. So that's not even a debate.
I understand.
Goldschmidt's a debate.
But you're already going through it with one veteran who's, again, not going to probably lead you to anything.
I don't mind the idea of Alec Burleson and Lucan Baker platooning at first base next year.
Doesn't Burleson, is he only a platoon guy? Does he not hit lefties?
Hit left-handers very well. Crushes right-handers. Lucan Baker crushes left-handers.
That could help.
So maybe that's the way they go. And then Burleson can DH, and a lot of he can play the outfield. He's a versatile guy. We'll see.
You got some options.
I'm not going to get hung up on it right now.
Baker's my age, but other than that, he should be okay.
He's 27. And he's been very good since they brought him up. They should have brought him up months ago.
Well, I told you that about Kyle Manzardi. He said, well, just be happy he's up now. And that's not the way I operate.
I try to win.
I want to put my best team on the field every night.
What I try to do is win. I'm all about it.
Well, you've been failing.
And I'm not in that Cleveland mindset.
Obviously, you are.
So we have picks today, our second week. And if week 1 is any indication, Jeff's going to have a whale of a year.
I doubt it is.
He was 5-3 last week, leads it with 25 points. Max had 5-3, 18 points. Duda 4-4, but for 20. The big fella Anthony 4-4 for 16, and I went a miserable 2-6 for 12 points.
You got some of your big ones, so that helps.
No, I'm not happy with it.
What'd you get? Your 5-7 or your 8-4?
5-7. Georgia, KU. That's it. My 8 was A&M.
Hate that for you.
Completely dropped the ball.
The 8 this week should be fairly obvious, but
well, we'll see.
The 9,
when we get to picks, we'll see what's obvious and what's not.
How many games we picking?
9 this week.
No Colorado, Nebraska.
Nope.
That's too bad.
At 2:25 today, Scott Merkin, who covers the White Sox for MLB.com. We've had Scott on the show to preview the White Sox a few times in the past years. But now we're going to have him on to talk about what it's like covering a team that's going to set a record for losses. Although last night they hammered Baltimore.
Weird.
Hammered them. I watched a little of that game, the beginning, couple innings, and they just took it to the Orioles.
Who pitched for the White Sox?
Some kid, blonde-haired, locks, some kid who pitched when they broke their 20-what game losing streak?
21.
22, I think.
It's 21, but that's all right.
No, I don't think it was.
Okay.
Look it up.
You can think whatever you want.
I heard it. I heard him just talked about today.
Well, you heard it wrong.
And then he pitched last night as they broke a 12-game losing streak.
Well, he's the stopper. Maybe he should pitch every night.
But I can't remember his name. But Scott Merkin from MLB.com will join us. And I'm just curious what this season's been like for him. What is it?
21.
Nah, it's 22. At 2:45, Dusty Trail, the head football coach at Bishop Carroll. As we continue talking to high school football coaches, the season begins tonight in some places, but in earnest tomorrow night all over the state of Kansas. And that Catch It Kansas crew, I'm sure, will be out in mass tomorrow. Am I right about that?
As far as I know.
You got nothing to do with that anymore?
No, I kind of decided I'm going to step away from that for at least this year, from the Catch It Kansas aspect.
What gives
of the
you
show.
the option to decide what you're going to do?
The option is that's not my shift, and I'm going to work my shift, and that's what I want to do.
Well, why'd you do it last year?
Well, it's different circumstances. My kid's coming back, I believe, tomorrow. So we'll hang out with her for a couple days, and I'll go see the Eagles on a Friday. I'll go. I got to work next Friday with the wind surge. It's just not really lining up as well this year, but we'll look at it again next year and see how it goes.
Well, I don't understand why you get to make those calls.
Because it's my shift.
If I was the employer, what I'd say is I don't care what you got going on. You're in for Friday Night Lights.
Maybe next year. Maybe I'll go out a game or two this year and cover something, and we'll see. But I cannot commit to a full time.
Will I make it to a high school game this season? Yes or no?
No.
Why do you say it?
Did you make it to one last year?
Why do you say it with that emphatic?
Because you couldn't even go see your Springfield Cardinals. That didn't even entice you to get up off your couch or your chair. And, if the Akron Rubber Ducks were playing here, I'd go see them every night.
I feel like I keep in very close touch with the Cardinals farm teams. And Double-A Springfield this year, while they had Tink Hintz and they had Quinn Matthews for a while, they don't really have any prospects on that team.
You got Brian Torres, who's okay.
He's 27. He's not a prospect.
Oh, you just said Lucan Baker was...
Yeah, Lucan Baker's been up, but Lucan Baker's fine. Lucan Baker.
Why is Brian Torres in Double-A if he's playing that well in Double-A?
Don't ask me, because they got the outfield covered in Triple-A.
Well, then he needs to go to a different organization.
Well, maybe he will. I don't know. I think he's a 1 year. I don't know. I mean,
he was there last year. Are you sure? He's 27.
No, he wasn't there last year.
Of course he was.
But he's had a good year for him, but he's not a prospect.
If you say so.
I mean, maybe he'll give him a chance. I mean, they got a lot of guys in front of him. He's not on their top 30 prospect list. He's 27. You're not a prospect. If you're at Double-A when you're 27, you're not a prospect.
Okay, but he's hitting 324. He's
great.
Got
we appreciate
32
it.
steals. He doesn't need to be in Double-A. Give the kid a challenge.
We'll give you a cookie.
Last year he was with the Milwaukee Milkmen.
Right. He came out of independent ball. And they've taken a look at him, and once they get to the offseason, maybe they'll decide that he's a guy they want to add to the 40-man.
What do you think he hit for the Milkmen?
Probably 317.
He's hitting 324 in Double-A.
Yeah, the Milkman's a good pitching.
He's hitting he hit 371.
Listen, it's a good league they play in.
The American Association?
That's where the Wing Nuts played.
Yes.
Is that league still alive?
Of course it is.
So that's one of the teams in it.
The Milwaukee Milkmen. Yes, they've added some teams. They got the Chicago Dogs. A couple others that they've added.
Who else is in it? Any of the originals? The Lincoln's
in it. Cleburne. You know who's in it. All the teams. I'll tell you right now who's in it.
Those were the days. Somebody ought to write a book.
Sioux City's in it. Sioux Falls, Winnipeg. All these teams are in it.
Somebody ought to write a book about the Wichita years in the American Association playing independent.
No one would read that book.
Why not?
Kane County's in it. Remember them from the Oakland Athletics organization?
I remember Kane County.
The Lake County Dockhounds are in the league. Kansas City Monarchs.
Well, they've been in it a while.
Yeah.
All right. I can get with that. That's not bad. Tonight, we have the kickoff of the NFL season. We've talked about the Chiefs and Ravens a lot. We are now at the point where we're going to be picking that game a little bit later. Kansas City, a narrow favorite, I believe 2.5. I don't want you to divulge, but I have a very strong feeling about the team that's going to win tonight.
Well, winning isn't everything. There's a line on that game that could swing some picks one way or the other, depending on how confident you feel about a score.
No, I have a feeling about the winner.
Well, that's fine.
Strong feeling.
That doesn't necessarily mean that whoever that team is will cover a spread of, 3.5?
But when you have a strong feeling about the winner, it would indicate that you believe that line is not enough.
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be if I'm going to stop the show and cause people to pull over in their cars or wherever they are.
So they won't.
And say, I wonder what his strong feeling is.
Why would they pull over for that?
Because they care.
You can care while driving.
If I have a strong feeling, you're so threatened by me.
Threatened?
One of the greatest
stupidity?
things about this show is that
you'd talk nonsense and I call you out on it?
Yes, I love it.
Okay, well,
because it works every time.
If that means threatened to you, then sure.
Max, get on.
Does he have to? What is he going to say? What is he going to offer?
Hello.
I don't know what he's going to. Hey, Max. Max back. By the way, I found out just a bit ago that Max is going to be out for the next 2 weeks starting Monday.
I hate that.
What the hell, I mean, what the heck, Max?
I need the ocean. I need to go home.
Well, I understand that. More power to you. So, on my assertion that I can press Jeff's buttons pretty easily, do you agree or disagree?
I agree, but it's
Whose
fun.
button is being pushed right now, though? The guy who makes a huge point of someone's button being pushed?
Yeah,
or
you guys push
the guy
each other
just kinda
buttons
sitting
constantly.
over here calmly?
You guys are.
Say that again, Max. Jeff was.
You guys push each other buttons constantly. It's great.
Well, Jeff has more buttons to push.
It's beating having
No,
to make.
I don't know about that.
I shouldn't say this,
Thank
but
you, Max.
it beats having to make a promo about Hawaiian shirts.
There's Max, who just spells it out.
Sure he does.
Says it like he sees it.
I mean, why not?
And I think he agreed with me on that.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, we got that game tonight. You guys coming over for it?
I don't know. That's a pretty late start.
Really? So that we're already in the whining mode about
Not
it.
really whining, but that won't be at halftime till 9 o'clock, and then
Well, that's what I said. You stay the first half.
you got to go wind down. You got. I mean, it's
wind
tough.
down
If you got to order also a gluten-free pizza
from
wherever you want.
Ziggy's have gluten free.
Yes.
Well, then that's where I'd order it from.
Ziggy's, get pepperoni, or you can.
Well, I gotta have verification that you're coming.
We'll discuss it. I was told it's a tentative yes.
Well, what? Listen, I think Shannon's awesome, but what's your vote on it?
It's a tentative no.
Really?
I don't know, man. That's late.
Well, that's just awful.
I got a new couch that I enjoy lying on, and real comfortable, and my cats over there that hang out. It's hard to just get up.
So what are the chances you'll take me up on our offer?
What's the offer?
To come over, have pizza, stay for the first half.
33.33%.
That you will.
Yeah.
If Shannon was answering, what would she say?
27.5%.
Really?
Yeah.
So I thought she had the tentative yes.
I don't know how she's feeling today. Should I text her and ask?
I remember, I hearken back to when my parents were alive. Hearken. I like to hearken. There's my pushing the button again. I go back to that time, and there weren't that many. I wish some memories were clearer. But I had to drive all the way to Derby to see my parents. And it seems like I did that at least twice a week.
Really?
Now, maybe and that was before you were born. It seems that way. Now, all my friends lived in Derby, so it was kind of, I'll stop in and say hi to the folks.
Well, what were you doing? You worked.
Yeah, but I was young, man. I was getting around.
So when you're young and you can do anything, hey, I'll go visit my parents.
No, I went to Derby to see my friends, but I also was able to visit my parents.
Well, usually you were visiting them to drop me off over there.
No, I'm talking about before you were born.
I don't know what was going on before I was born. I can't speak to any of that.
But it just seems like I was in Derby quite a bit in those years.
I don't know.
And my parents never, seems like I was never, I'm 33.33% sure I'm not. I mean, I don't
But
get
wouldn't
it.
they have been refreshed by your honesty, and instead of your dad wasn't a guy who wanted you to just fall all over yourself to go hang out with him?
I'm not saying that at all.
Kind of are.
I enjoyed, my mom I enjoyed her volatility to some degree, but I enjoyed being around my dad.
Of course, who didn't?
I was around him a ton as a kid. He took me to games, and we hung out all the time. Now, he said about 6 words, but
I can
that's
relate.
okay. That's okay. We didn't need to talk.
Were those 6 words about how bad you were doing in school?
No, my dad never cared about how I did.
Oh, man, to have that.
He actually thought I did very well in school.
Well, anyway, he can think anything if he doesn't know.
Well, he got notifications at times, but he didn't go off the deep end.
Why did you?
Because I was smart. He knew that. He knew I'd figure out a way.
Did you know I was smart?
No. I didn't know.
Do you know now that I'm smart?
Buttons, Max. You're okay, smart.
But I was never going to be a scientist. I was never going to do anything involved in math. You should just be paying attention to what I did in English and journalism. Who cares about the other stuff?
Well, it's good to have a well-rounded education. Yesterday we had a meeting at our building with college-age Rudd scholars who do a lot of tutoring for our Bright Lights education program. We're very involved with them. And there were probably 15 of them in the room. And we went around and I asked, where are you from? What high school did you attend? What class are you in at Wichita State? What are you majoring in? Simple stuff. So a couple of them, named kind of obscure high schools out in the state. And I said, that's, gave the nickname. And
maybe. We've tried that game on this show.
That impressed them. One said they were from Meriden, Kansas. And, of course,
Jefferson West, North?
Jefferson West.
Yeah.
Jefferson North is where?
I don't remember.
Nortonville.
Okay.
So,
I'll take your word for it.
Well, don't take my word for it. I just know that I'm right.
Okay. That's basically the same thing.
One said they were from, one said they'd grown up in Rexford, Kansas. Now, that's way out in northwest Kansas, where there's not a whole lot. What high school is in Rexford, Kansas?
I have no idea.
Golden Plains.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's good. I would have known that 10 years ago.
Well, why do I still know it?
I don't know. You retain information better than I do, perhaps.
Well, Max, use that as a promo.
Retain useless information and more than...
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk with Scott Merkin. He is MLB's beat writer for the Chicago White Sox. Has been doing that job a while and does very well at it. I'm curious what it's been like covering this futile effort put forth by the White Sox. Scott Merkin will tell us next. The Bob and Jeff Show, KFH.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with All Trails.
Nothing is more important than getting a good night's sleep, and when you don't get the rest you need, your whole day is thrown off. That's why it's so important to choose the right mattress. Sleeping on a Purple mattress is truly a unique experience, because Purple mattresses are made with a GelFlex Grid. The GelFlex Grid is an innovative material that moves with your body to relieve pressure in areas like knees and hips, and support in others like your back. It feels soft where you want it and supports where you need it. Purple mattresses instantly adapt when you move. You don't sink in and get stuck like with memory foam. And thanks to over 1,400 air chambers in the GelFlex Grid, you will sleep cooler on a Purple mattress. Purple has a wide variety of mattresses, from the original Purple mattress to the Restore Hybrid collection that combines GelFlex Grid with coils, and the Rejuvenate Luxe collection, the height of luxury, with over 112,000 five-star reviews to prove it. Visit purple.com to find the perfect Purple for you and enter code podcast10 to get 10% off.
After investing billions to light up our network, T-Mobile is America's largest 5G network. Plus, right now, you can switch, keep your phone, and we'll pay it off up to $800. See how you can save on every plan versus Verizon and AT&T at T-Mobile.com/keep-and-switch.
Up to 4 lines via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service ported 90+ states with device and eligible carrier and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months.
Hey, fantasy football owners, the road to winning your fantasy football championship starts now. I'm Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. Join me and James Coe as we take a deep dive into the position that's going to make or break your fantasy roster. Wide receivers. We analyze route running, target share, and all the metrics that matter, giving you the insights you need to draft the best wide receivers. As you prep for your draft, let us give you the coverage you need. Follow and listen to Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
Scott Merkin joins us on the IHOP hotline. He covers the Chicago White Sox for MLB.com. I mentioned we've had Scott on the show to preview the White Sox. Well, this is the first time we've had you on to talk about what has been a historically difficult season. How you holding up, Scott? What's it like covering this team?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I mean, I was off for this Baltimore series, so I missed the big win yesterday. But, it's you got to find the stories in the season. I mean, you hate to sound glib, but we don't get paid by the victory. So, you get paid a salary one way or the other, and you try and do the best job you can. And there's some good stories to be had. They've had some, really good production on the minor league side this year. Maybe not across the board, but some really good individual performances. Garrett Crochet has been, I think, one of the better stories in baseball, even though he's understandably on an innings limit in the second half because he's not only crushed his single-season innings limit, he's almost doubled his career innings total so far. But, there's been some good stories. Grady Sizemore has added some energy to the team. So, yeah, but it's tough when they lose, 21 in a row, 14 in a row, 12 in a row is the last one, I think. So it's tough to kind of find angles off the game, but you do what you can. They have it, put it this way, they have it tougher than I do, that's for sure.
So yeah, I was going to ask you about Grady Sizemore because I'm a Cleveland fan. He spent probably his best years as a player in Cleveland. Now he's a young manager, probably by all indications not going to get that full-time job. What have you observed about his demeanor as a guy leading the clubhouse and the dugout?
Yeah, I talked to him one-on-one Sunday, and he kind of said, he hopes that he does a good enough job that he at least makes it a tough decision for the people who are going to make the call. And, ultimately it's Chris Getz and Jerry Reinsdorf, but there will be others involved as well. Yeah, I think it's just he commands a lot of respect because, he's a guy who did it at that level and did it well, did it at a high level for at least 3 years. I think he played 3 straight years of 162 games. I covered him. I mean, I didn't cover him directly, but I covered the Sox when he was tearing it up for Cleveland in 05, 06, and 07. And I just think and it helped that he was there all year. He was their major league coach, which was just kind of like a guy who helped out wherever they needed it. He worked with the outfielders defensively and just a little bit offensively and base running. So he was there all season and commands a lot of respect. And I think, his record is not any better than what Pedro Grifol's record was, just in a shorter time period. But I do believe that he's added a little extra life. And he even talked about that he could sense the morale was down. And I think what you were seeing, when they were really fading is, a team that kind of played hard every day. And it's a really good clubhouse. There's no infighting. It's just a really good group fighting for each other. But you could sense it was almost like, okay, when is this going to turn? When are we going to lose? And I don't think that's been there with Grady. Again, they haven't won a lot of games at Grady, but I do think the belief is there that they can do it. So maybe that's half the battle, but you kind of need, to enhance the team a little bit to win the other half of the battle.
Scott Merkin with us from MLB.com. He covers the Chicago White Sox for MLB.com. So they pretty much unloaded at the trade deadline. You look at this roster. You're aware of their minor league system. You right. Have gotten to know Chris Getz. What do you think the off-season plan is? And then the second part of that question, I'm a Cardinals fan, and Cardinals fans are spoiled rotten, and I admit that. So we're up in arms about everything that involves the front office and ownership. I can't imagine what a White Sox fan would think right now about Jerry Reinsdorf. Where is all that?
Oh, I don't think it's just Jerry. I think it's the entire organization. And, they have a right to be angry, and I think the White Sox front office and the White Sox as an organization understand that. You have to understand that when Rick Hahn embarked on the last rebuild, this is like rebuild 3 since I've been covering the team, but embarked on the one that started with the Chris Sale trade to Boston at the winter meetings just outside D.C. in 2016. Fans not only embraced that, they thrived off it. I've told this story 100 times now, but when Moncada made his debut, he had an 8-pitch at bat. I forgot how it even ended, but he fouled a pitch off on pitch 6 and got a standing ovation. So that's how people went nuts when they announced on the Sox Twitter account that Michael Kopech was making his starting debut that following Tuesday. They announced it on a Sunday. So to embrace it like that, to love it like that, and then get 2 playoff wins out of the whole thing. And I'm not talking 2 playoff series wins. I'm talking they won 1 game in Oakland in 20 and 1 game at home against Houston in 21, and that's it. And then to be on pace at least. Let's not say probably, because you never know. They could finish strong. The 03 Tigers won 5 of their last 6 games to avoid 120, right? So you never know what can happen. But even if the season ended today, 109 losses, back-to-back 100-loss seasons, in the scope of baseball and only baseball, it is embarrassing, and they have a right to be angered. There's no question about it. And I understand what the fans are feeling. In terms of this offseason, I still think it's going to be another rebuild year, another kind of year to figure out what they have in their system. Some more guys will come up. They have the number 1 and number 2 left-handed pitching prospects in baseball, and Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith, who was the number 5 pick overall in this year's draft, in the 2024 draft. So you'll see guys, you'll see a younger team, more guys come to the majors, but eventually they're going to have to spend, and I don't think, and again, I don't mean they have to go out and spend $400 on $400. That'd be something, wouldn't it? $400 million. I could spend $400 on a player, to make this team great. But they're going to have to spend a considerable amount, maybe across 4 or 5 players, to really enhance the roster. And they did that the first time, and it just didn't, for whatever reason, it just didn't work. Underperformance, injuries, signings that didn't pan out like they wanted. But, at some point that's going to have to happen, and maybe that'll be the offseason going into 26. But I think 25 is not going to be a lot of additions and more, youth and development.
If you could point to maybe one thing as kind of the tipping point to where the White Sox go from a playoff caliber team in 21 and 2 and 3 years later, especially 3 years later, they're historically bad. What would that be? Is it Tim Anderson falling off a cliff? Is it injuries? Did it start with La Russa's hiring? Where do you think it started to go wrong for the White Sox?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything. And I will say that if you're going to complain about Tony coming back, after being out of the dugout for 10 years, they did win 93 games and won the division in 21 with him at the helm. Now, again, it's not a solo operation, or I should say a solo operation. But they also had a ton of injuries that year, too. So it wasn't like he was handed a perfect team and just stepped back and watch it work. There was, Eloy was out. Robert was out. Nick Madrigal, who was still a key player at that point, he went out all for extended periods of time. And they somehow, now the rest of the division wasn't very good that year. A lot of injuries in the Cleveland pitching staff that year. Kansas City and Detroit just weren't good teams. And I think Minnesota had an off year, too. And then they finished 81 and 81 his second year, and he was very sick, unfortunately, which thank God he's healthy now and still part of the organization. But I just think everything you said, what I was just saying, injuries to key guys, trades that didn't work, free agency that didn't pan out, that kind of thing. So, and more so injuries. Eloy Jimenez had a quote before the season started about how he wanted to see himself, Robert, and Moncada all play at least 150 games this year. And I'm not sure, Eloy's now with the Orioles, but I'm not sure if together they're going to total just above that. Although Robert has played a little bit coming back. But Moncada hasn't been there since April 9th, and Eloy's with the Orioles now. So just a combination of everything just did not work for them and leaves them where they're at.
Final moments here with Scott Merkin, MLB.com, Chicago White Sox beat writer. White Sox sitting at 32 and 109, although last night they handled the Orioles in Baltimore. So there
32 and 109 sounds really bad, doesn't it? When you say it out loud.
It does. I tried to gloss that over quickly.
And the interesting thing is they have 2 huge wins under Grady against the Yankees and the Orioles. So go figure baseball, right? 2 of their bigger wins are against probably, I don't want to say 2 best teams because it's so hard to pick the best team in the American League right now, but 2 playoff teams almost certainly, and they handled that. And they're 5-5 against the Guardians, who have a 4.5 game lead, I believe, on the Royals to win the division right now. Yeah, that one's really high. Now they played 3 early without Stephen Kwan, so that could make a little bit of a difference. But still, 5-5. They're 5-5 against the Guardians. 1-12 against the Royals, 1-12 against the Twins, and 1-9 against the Tigers. So figure that one out.
Wow.
Amazing. So there are 2 players still on this roster who anybody would love to have. One of them, Garrett Crochet, you talked about him earlier. He has had a tremendous season. He's performed at a very high level. The other, Luis Robert, who has not had a good season. He's missed a big chunk of it. And when he's been on the field, he hasn't been productive. Where do those 2 guys sit with the White Sox moving forward?
Crochet, I would, it's tough because, when you have a guy like that who clearly sits at the top of your rotation, and I would argue in the first half of the season was probably as good as any starter in the game, as dominant as any starter in the game. And remember, this was a guy who told me when he was told he was the opening day starter, that was the first time he really knew he was going to break camp as part of the rotation, because there was speculation with him coming from the bullpen and only one full season that he would go to their AAA team in Charlotte to kind of start his, speed up his workload there. And here you go. He's now one of the more dominant guys. But the thing is, they have him for 2 more years of control. So if you can't see yourself winning in those 2 years, it probably makes better sense to try and move him and get a huge return at this point, especially as great as he's pitched this year. And now you'll have in the offseason no innings constraints. He'll have the whole season behind him. He'll be ready to go next year and be ready to go, full boat as a starter. Robert's an interesting case because he had a tremendous season in 2023, one of the more complete seasons I've seen from a White Sox player. And then he was hurt again this year, hurt himself in Kansas City, running out a double. And then, he's been very uneven since he's come back. He's chased a lot more than he usually has. He's still running the bases well. I think he's got over 20 stolen bases. He's going to end up with like 15 to 18 home runs. But I wonder if teams, he has 1 year left next year, and then he has 2 option years. So I wonder if teams may want to see him a little bit in the season before trading for him. Or I guess you could go, as Chris Getz said from when he took over, there is no one who's untradeable on this team. So anything is possible, except I would say guys like Noah Schultz and Hagen Smith. They're here for the long haul. Probably Colson Montgomery, their top position player, is there. But anyone on that major league roster, anyone on that 40-man, pretty much is fair game to be traded. So it'll be interesting to see the kind of interest he'll have in the offseason from other teams. There was considerable interest in Garrett right up till the last hour or so of the deadline this year from teams like the Dodgers and the Phillies, and they made good offers. So we'll see if those offers even jump up next year. And there'll be more teams in it, I think, too. Teams like the Cubs and the Rays, who were kind of, and still are, kind of borderline playoff contenders, may think, well, this is the guy who takes us from borderline to back over the top in 25.
Scott, thank you. I'm thankful that a veteran reporter such as yourself is covering this team. It'd be a really tough one for a newbie to step in and try to cover a team like this. We appreciate your time. Thanks again.
Sure, anytime. Take care.
Here's Dusty Trail from Bishop Carroll, head football coach. The Golden Eagles open play tomorrow night against Wichita Northwest, a difficult assignment. Dusty, welcome. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good afternoon, guys.
We're always happy to talk with you and always happy to talk high school football. Last year was an anomaly for Bishop Carroll, 3-6, first losing record since I was a young man. I'll just say that. Yeah. So what happens this year to help turn this thing around?
Well, yeah, obviously that's helped motivate the guys as far as, putting in the work in the off season. And I've seen that. We're going to be a young team this year. And, so we're going to have typical young team struggles. But I really like the attitude of our team and the work they've put in the off season and their attitude going into the season. They've been very positive, working tremendously hard, and hopefully that shows up on the field for us.
What did you learn last year, I guess, about yourself, but also about your program, and what kind of thinking did you do about, reinforcing or reevaluating, whatever it might be, the standard that you hold your program to?
Yeah, definitely. After last season, obviously, after every season, I take a step back and take a look at our program and what I'm doing in the program and the direction it's going. Obviously, I'm the leader of that direction, so after every season, I try to evaluate what we're doing and how successful that is. And after last season, obviously, that took some reflection on my part as far as what transpired throughout the season. I don't think we needed to make any wholesale changes as far as how we do things, but definitely we had to kind of step back and reevaluate some things as far as how we do things, how we communicate to the kids, and make sure they're gaining an understanding of what we want them to learn, and so we did make some changes going into this season as far as how we do those types of things, as far as the expectations are. And my philosophy when you're going through tough times, then you got to go back to the basics. And so that's something that we really hit hard in the off season and in preseason, is just going back to the basics of football and, what it takes to win games playing this game, and it's basically just blocking and tackling. So we took a hard look as a coaching staff as far as how we teach that part of the game, the blocking and tackling and the physicality part of the game, and made some changes there. And so far from what I've seen, I think it's made a positive impact and moved us in a positive direction. But as you know, Friday nights are going to be the proof of that. So we'll see how things go tomorrow night against a tough team.
Dusty Trail, our guest, head football coach at Bishop Carroll, been a part of that program now for how many years, Dusty?
Yeah, I'm going into my 30th.
Wow.
So I've been there a while.
Congratulations on been a lot of success over that 30 years. So we have complete faith that Bishop Carroll will find its way back. But I wanted to ask you about coming off a season like you did last year, which nobody at Bishop Carroll really has a blueprint for. You open with Wichita Northwest. Would you rather open with maybe somebody not quite of the quality of Northwest, or is it good to just jump right in?
No, my philosophy is jump right in. I love playing good competition. It challenges our kids. It teaches them, how they need to prepare for top quality opponents, because that's where we want our program to be and feel it should be is competing against top quality. So I'm fine with jumping right into the mix. It's a good kind of barometer game for us, and I know Coach Martin likes it the same way. It gives us a good idea of where we're at as a program, what we need to work on, things we need to improve on, win or lose, and how to compete at the highest level against these guys. Our standards, our expectations are the same every year. We expect to be competing in November. That's our goal every year. And, you're going to be competing against top quality teams that time of the year. So might as well jump out of the gate and see what that looks like right away and where we need to get to.
You said it's a little bit of a young team, and maybe they go through the growing pains. But do you see? I guess how much improvement do you expect this year? And do you see in some of these young guys a group that can get you back to the top of the City League?
Yeah, I just see a greater passion for the game in this group of guys. They love playing the game, and they show that day in and day out at practice. We put them through a pretty tough fall camp, pretty physically demanding, pretty time demanding, and they've responded. And that's what I like to see, win or lose tomorrow. These guys are responding to everything that we're doing, and they're responding in a positive way. They like to play the game. They like playing with each other. Now the key is going to be for us, how well are they going to play together? How well are you going to do your job? Yes, but how well is your job meshing with the guys around you on the field? Being a young team, that's always tough. That's what you need for consistency is everybody working together and doing those things that, are going to create good things. But they have to do it in the right way. They have to do it at the right time. And all that takes time to learn. And when you got new guys there, it takes even longer. So, I'm also interested, this is going to be the first varsity start for several of these young guys. And so I'm interested to see how they're going to handle that as well. There's going to be obviously some pressure there, some excitement, some fear. How are you going to handle that? I think it's going to be a great learning experience for us, win or lose. But those are things that we can definitely build on throughout this season and continue to improve and get better and be where we want to be at the end of the year.
Dusty Trail with us. One more. We know your time's limited, but I want you to give us 3 or 4 names of some personnel that we need to be watching out for.
Well, a young man that has been in our program for 4 years, one of our few seniors. We've got a small senior class this year, but one of our few seniors who hasn't had a lot of opportunity to show what he can do because of injury throughout his high school career, but Carter Klumpney has had a really good fall camp. He's going to be starting at quarterback for us, and I think he's going to surprise some people. He's got a strong arm. He's getting smarter by the day about where to place the football and when to get the ball out. He's got a quick release, strong arm. And he's athletic in his own way. He's not a speed burner by any stretch, but he's a strong kid, and he can extend plays. So, we're really excited about him and showing what he can do. Also on the offensive side of the ball, we got up front, we got Zane White returning to lead a young offensive line, and we're going to need his leadership. But Zane's done a great job of, trying to pull those guys together. And he and J.P. Carrillo up front. There are two of our few returners that have varsity experience there. So we're going to rely on those guys heavily, to keep us moving in the right direction, keep us moving the chains. And another guy that we're looking at is Nathan Gertz. on the offensive side of the ball. You're gonna see him line up in a lot of different spots. He's a big kid. Again, not overly fast. He's not one of your speedier guys, but he's a 6'4", 6'5" guy. Played tight end for us. He'll play H-back for us. He'll play wide out. We're going to move him around a lot, see if we can create some mismatches. And, he's got good hands and will make the contested physical catches. So he's going to play an important role for us to keep the chains moving as well.
All right, Dusty. Well, I got to intercede. I apologize. Okay. I wanted to get a couple more names, but we got to get to a break.
Right. That's okay. I get a little wordy sometimes. I apologize.
Hey, we're looking forward to it. Best of luck. Again, Bishop Carroll begins its season tomorrow night at home at Bishop Carroll against Wichita Northwest. That's such a regional rivalry, really two schools in the same neighborhood. Best of luck. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate having me on.
All right, Dusty Trail. We'll take a break. We'll come back hour number 2. We've got picks coming up with the big fella and Jason Duda, as well as Max. So we'll all be making picks. That'll take us a little bit with 9 games. Back in a minute.
It's a great day to venture out in a spacious and capable Toyota SUV, like the new RAV4. With available all-wheel drive, it can go just about anywhere. And with plenty of passenger and cargo space, you'll go from morning carpool to weekend road trip without missing a beat. Plus, with available features like wireless charging and a touchscreen interface, your Toyota RAV4 will keep you connected no matter where you're going. Or check out a spacious Highlander. With seating for up to 8, it's a hub for family adventure. You'll drive in comfort and style with available heated and ventilated seats and all the latest tech. And with available hybrid models, your new Highlander can save you tons on gas. Right now, your local Toyota dealer has more vehicles in stock and is making delivery on new vehicles almost every day. So don't wait. Buy a RAV4 or Highlander today. Visit buyatoyota.com for deals and more. Toyota. Let's go places.
It's better over here. AT&T customers, switching to T-Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your existing phone and give you a new one free, all on America's largest 5G network. Visit T-Mobile.com/carrier freedom to switch today.
Pay off up to $650 via virtual prepaid MasterCard in 15 days. Free phone up to $830 via 24 monthly bill credits plus tax. Qualifying port-in, trade-in service on Go 5G Next and credit required. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue bill credits or credit stop and balance and required finance agreement is due.
Hey, fantasy football owners. The road to winning your fantasy football championship starts now. I'm Matt Harmon from Reception Perception. Join me and James Coe as we take a deep dive into the position that's going to make or break your fantasy roster. Wide receivers. We analyze route running, target share, and all the metrics that matter, giving you the insights you need to draft the best wide receivers. As you prep for your draft, let us give you the coverage you need. Follow and listen to Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.